Today's topic is box and whisker plots. Box and whisker plots are used for separating data into subsets as a useful way to summarize and compare them. A box and whisker plot displays the maximum, minimum, and quartiles of the data set. Be sure to order the data from least to greatest when calculating by hand. Quartiles are values that divide the data set into 4 equal parts. The parts of a box and whisker plot include the following. The median, or second quartile, separates the data into upper and lower halves. The lower quartile, also known as the first quartile, or quartile 1, is the median of the lower half of the data. The upper quartile, also known as quartile 3, is the median of the upper half of the data. The inner quartile range is the difference between the first and third quartiles. Please draw the following visual on your paper. Let's identify the parts that we just wrote down. Quartile 1 is located at the beginning of the box. Quartile 3 is located at the end of the box. The median sits in the middle. Your smallest value, sometimes called the lower extreme, sits on the left whisker. Your upper extreme, which is also your largest value, sits on the right whisker. The left whisker extends from the minimum, also known as your lower extreme, to the first quartile. It represents 25% of the data. The box extends from the first quartile to the third quartile and has a vertical line through the median. The length of the box represents the inner quartile range. It contains 50% of the data. The right whisker extends from the third quartile to the maximum, also known as your upper extreme. It represents 25% of the data. Each of the 4 parts represent 25% of the data. The box, which goes from quartile 1 to quartile 3, is the middle 50%. We are now going to use a graphing calculator to create a box and whisker plot with the following data. You do not have to do this by hand, as we will use a calculator. Notice the yellow box and blue box on the screen. They are both the steps that you need to write down for using the calculator to make a box and whisker plot. The first thing that you'll do on a calculator is put the data into stat enter, which is where your L1 is located. Once your data has been typed in, you will hit second, y equals, enter, enter, to turn on stat plot 1. You will then go select the box and whisker plot. The box and whisker plot is the 5th picture next to type. You will hit enter, and then to see your box and whisker plot, you will hit zoom 9. On your screen, you will see a box and whisker plot. You can then use the trace button, which is located at the top of your calculator, to get the 5-number summary, which includes your minimum, your quartile 1, your quartile 2, which is your median, quartile 3, and maximum. Let me demonstrate using the following data. I'm going to type in my data first. Hit stat enter. Into L1, I will type in my data. After you type in your data, you hit second, y equals, enter, enter. That will turn on your plot. Then go down to type and select the 5th picture. Hit enter. Then, to see your box and whisker plot, hit zoom 9. There is a picture of your box and whisker plot. To get the data, the numbers, you're going to use your trace button and use your arrow keys to go from the left to the right. Your minimum is 75. Your quartile 1 is 102.5. Your median is 130.5. Your quartile 3 is 140. And your maximum is 350. Fill in your minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, which is your median, quartile 3, and maximum. To find the range, do maximum minus minimum. For interquartile range, do quartile 3 minus quartile 1, which in this case will be 140 minus 102.5. That gives you 37.5. Notice it asks you what percentage of the data is between 102.5 and 130.5. 130.5 is your median. So it's asking what percentage of the data is between quartile 1 and your median. Because that is one section of your box and whisker plot, it will be 25%. We will follow the same steps for this set of data. First thing you need to do is go into Stat Enter. Make sure you clear out the old data and then enter the new data. Then you will go into Stat Plot by hitting second y equals, turn Plot 1 on, make sure that the box and whisker plot, which is the fifth picture, is selected, and then hit Zoom 9 to see your picture. This box and whisker plot looks very different than the first one. It is more uniform. Go ahead and fill in the minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and maximum. Also, fill in the range by doing maximum minus minimum, and find the interquartile range by doing Q3 minus Q1. Then, answer the question about the percentage of the data that is between 95 and 105. Take a look at this next data set and see if you can identify the outlier. Is there a number that stands out among the rest? There is. What number is it? It's 410. What you will do now is you will make two different box and whisker plots. You will make one with the data point 410 and one without the data value 410. Draw a sketch on your paper to compare the two. Then, answer the question, does it change the center? Remember, the center is your median. The second question is, does it change the spread of the data? The spread of the data is referring to the range. The next skill you will need to be able to do is to compare between two box and whisker plots. You are given two data sets. Calculate the interquartile ranges for data set A and data set B. Remember, interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. For data set A, you would do 7.5 minus 2.5. For data set B, you would do 6 minus 5. Write down the interquartile ranges for both sets of the data. The interquartile ranges tell you about the middle 50% of your data. For data set A, the middle 50% of the data is within 5 numbers of each other. The middle 50% of data set B is within 1 number of each other. In which data set is the data less widely spread? Well, to look at spread, you want to conclude whether the interquartile range is bigger or smaller. If it's less widely spread, the interquartile range would be smaller. So in these particular examples, data set B has data that is less widely spread.